I'm going to start with the usual song. Invoke the intention. Set the intention. As above, so below. As within, so without. I only want to hold you in my heart. I only want to hold you in my heart. All right. Today I want to talk about confrontation and its importance, and the importance of doing confrontation correctly. There is something to be said about confronting people, being able to say your piece while maintaining a sort of a level head, right? Keeping everything sort of feelings neutral so that people don't jump from their head into like fight or flight responses where they get all activated and fighty. Then that's well and good. Everybody, I think, intuitively goes that route, right? When they're in confrontation with people, they're like, they might be screaming and shouting, and then they're like, whoa, 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 whoa. We kind of went a little crazy there when we were just bickering, or even worse, like, worse, right? Shouting at each other. I think it's everyone knows that, like, it sometimes it feels bad to be in conflict, especially with people we care about. But what I want to talk to is, I think there's an advantage to facing conflict, especially if it makes you feel bad. I'm an avoidant person, just to be totally upfront. Like, if there's a conflict, I'll find some way to avoid it or dance around it. My partner is not that way at all. So while I'm running, she's chasing me down, right? This is a pretty common pattern. But one thing that I've noticed is, for one, I have incentive to want to engage in conflict. So to resist my own pattern of avoidance, right? That incentive both comes from my own personal experience of how avoidance has really shrunken the world that I live in, and in the way that I've suffered the consequences of other people's avoidance. I will wave, vaguely at what that means, and you can fill in whatever blanks you want. All of that to say, in being in a relationship with someone who is very much not conflict avoidant, and with my own internal incentives to face it, I've discovered that I have other resources available to me. There's a kind of way you can engage in conflict dynamically, even when you're losing your shit, even when you're going off the deep end. And by never going there, by never being pushed to your limit of like what you can tolerate and stand, in a lot of ways you're making yourself more vulnerable to people who can do that. Now, in normal, healthy relationships, you don't want to be pushing each other to the limit, just because you don't have the capacity to engage in meaningful dialogue, right? But if you're an avoidant person, there's something to be said about someone who, or about being pushed to your limit. You know, like when the strategy of avoid, flight basically, no longer works, you have to learn to fight. And if you care about a person, you won't want to hurt them. So now there's a tension, right, between the fact that you don't want to hurt the person you care about, despite maybe in the moment feeling like you do, um, whether that's physically or emotionally, right? That you don't want to do that if you care about the person. I would say that is always the case. And advocating for yourself, it's the old assertiveness piece. Being able to go to the extremes of your own feelings in a space that's safe for you to do that, that has a container for you to do that, I think is a good thing. I think it's helpful. I know it's helped me. What it's helped me to do is to have more self-awareness when I am feeling like just flipping out, when I feel pressed and put upon, and like all of my old triggers are like activated, Now, so I had this kind of an insight that sort of faded away, which is it's always good to confront your fears. Always. And if you're always confronting your fears, you will face things that could really hurt you, kill you, damage you. You will be vulnerable. You will be vulnerable. And avoidance tries to survive. Tries to seek, staying alive as long as possible by never confronting the thing that's trying to hunt you or hurt you. That's a strategy that one can take, the avoidant route. It can work if there's not, enough, we'll say, predators, people, things that want to hurt you in your environment. But if there are, you do have to learn how to defend yourself, or you don't survive. So if you want to survive in a world that's inherently full of conflict, but you don't want to be aggressive, and you don't want to, you're not a predator. You're not trying to hurt things. You're not trying to consume, get something out of somebody else, right? But you do want to expand the space that you can be in without always looking over your shoulder. The only energy that really helps with that is love. It's the only energy that can help you stay in contact with an environment that's trying to kill you, and it can help you learn. It can soothe you, and it can say, I care about this situation. I care about this other person. I care about, even your enemies, right? And they're trying to kill me. They're trying to hurt me. And I want to be a self-respecting person and not just be a pushover, be bulldozed, because that's just avoidant. There's a thing you can do where you just, you apply a little bit of tenderness to the other person, to the thing, and you just open yourself. And you don't have to say you're doing this. It's just the gentlest touch, the least amount of energy or effort, right? It's just a subtle, soft touch that you put to the situation. And you say, I want to learn here. I want to know more about what's happening here. And you just are with that. You just sit with it. You stay with that space. Now, the other person is going to say things to you that are going to hurt you, and you're going to get thrown off balance. You're going to get triggered as shit, to use a technical term, especially because you're being vulnerable. But if you can get enough practice in, you eventually learn that, like, you can start to see things differently. You can see motivation better. You can see the threats the other people are facing better. You can see, or you can be open to holding space for that other thing to teach you why it's responding to you the way that it is. And just by being in that space, you can be confrontational. You can be very confrontational. And because you see people's motivations, or are open to seeing what they're motivated by, you can learn more. If you're afraid, fear is inherently like, I'm in threat, I need to get out, or you're the enemy, I need to get you. I need to get you off my back. I need to get you to stop doing this. I need you to start doing this because you don't care about me, and you're the worst thing that ever happened to me. Any hurtful thing you can think of, you're squirming and you're struggling and you're like, and you're tense. But love is soft. It's supple. It's flowing. And that helps. That's always going to have the advantage in a tense situation. Because if you're able to maintain that softness, the other person is going to they'll feel it. They won't be able to keep fighting it. Because you won't be providing resistance, but you're not running either. You can be fully there. And they just won't be able to hurt you because they're trying to, find your attention and get it because they think that's you. But it's not. Now, how you do this, this is really the challenge, right? But it's something like if you were to tense your arm up, right? You just imagine like your arm was stuck in tension or something like that, right? So you're flexing, right? Now, if you pay attention to the fact that your arm is tense and you're like holding it. Now, say you wanted to set the intention to just hold your arm flexed for a long period of time, right? Okay, so you're just holding that tension there, right? Okay, so if you wanted to stop that, you first need to recognize, I kind of put that tension on automatic pilot, become aware of it, you just are with it, and you allow it to relax, soften. And you can play with the level of tension too, like how soft can it get? How soft can it get? Can I take all the intention out of the arm? Or you can say, what is the minimum amount of tension that I can use to keep my arm elevated in this position? Or even slightly flexed. What this does is it helps to practice the dynamism, right? You want the minimum amount of effort. And you want to play with levels of tension, gradations of tension, from completely, totally floppy, which most pushovers, including myself, tend to gravitate towards, to extreme tension. And once you can feel the range, and you can be attentive to the other person's range, you can better move with them. And once again, I say this won't be perfect. But if you stay connected to your heart, your feelings, right? And you acknowledge that you want to both care for yourself in all of your defense mechanisms, and you want to care for the other person's defense mechanisms. If you can maintain that and hold that space, I think it brings, it makes it easier to reconcile. Because everyone has motivations. And most people are driven by a fear of one kind or another. And once fear as a category is confrontable, once you realize, oh, I have my fears and I want to confront them because I want more space to breathe, frankly. I want to be able to not feel like the world is shrinking around me and I have nothing to do. Once you can do that, you can start to expand, start to step into the world more, start to learn about your partner more, start to learn about your life more. It's vulnerable. And if you have people with this skill set to hold a container while you practice, that's great. I mean, they're rare, but they're out there, right? If you could find someone who can give you that container, it's really a boon, Anyway, that's all I got today. I'll end with one of my little songs. If I could see your shadow, if I could see your shadow, if I could see your shadow, what would I see? All right. Take care.